The Stations of the Cross is an act of worship which takes us in our thoughts and prayers to Jerusalem at the time of the Passover, approximately 2,000 years ago. Along with other pilgrims, then and since, we are able to follow the journey from the house of Pontius Pilate, where Jesus was condemned to death, to the cross at Golgotha, and thence to his burial. As he went on his final journey, he stopped. A station is a stopping place, and at each of these, we too pause and think and pray. After each station is announced, we say, "We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world." These stations, each of them carved from a single slab of marble by Maria de Feco, are situated along the banks of the river Gave in the shrine at Lourdes, and are accessible to everyone. There are no do not touch notices, nothing to interfere with thoughts, reflections, tears, and prayers. So let's set off and walk with Jesus. The first station. Jesus is condemned to death. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Jesus' trial is a farce. Pilate doesn't think he is guilty. He even makes a point of washing his hands, so that the onlookers won't hold him responsible. Not that he does anything to save Jesus. Is this because he is a weary cynic who doesn't care? Or is he afraid of the accusers and opting to appease them? Or maybe he thinks it looks good to be tough on crime, even if the wrong person is punished. So after token resistance, he goes with the crowd. Don't we do the same thing, go with the crowd? Condemning people without much thought about what they really think and do. We are quick to judge others. Is it because we fear to stand out from the crowd? After all, it's dangerous to disagree with the majority. And Jesus? Hands tightly roped together in such a way that he can't move his arms. How would you describe him? Submissive? Angry at the false accusations? All those words of contempt, malice, ridicule, with worse to follow. Resistant? No, he is condemned to death, taking upon himself the sentence we all face. Obedient? Yes, if we remember that, we may live every day as precious and unrepeatable, with the gifts and graces the Lord will give us today. Lord, give us gratitude for this day and every day, that we may love you to the end.
My song is love unknown, my Saviour's love to me, love to the loveless shown, that they might lovely be. Oh, who am I, that for my sake my Lord should take frail flesh and die?
The second station. Jesus receives the cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Imagine the humiliation of having to carry the very instrument of death. It is like the Jews during the Holocaust and the victims of the Serbian massacres who were made to dig their own graves. Look at his hands. Look carefully. The left one cupped, willing to accept what is placed in it, giving the impression that he takes the cross rather than passively accepting it. And us? We too have crosses to bear, some of our own making and others not. How are our hands when we lift our crosses? Can we find the courage to take up our burdens, our sorrows, our fears, and walk with Jesus on this long and painful journey? May Christ give us grace to grow in holiness, take up our cross, and follow him.
May I run the race before me, strong and brave to face the foe, looking only unto Jesus as I onward go.
The third station. Jesus falls the first time. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Hungry, thirsty, tired, weak. It is obvious from the carving that the weight he carries is taking its toll, and his strength is ebbing. Collapsed on his knees, foot braced to help him balance, and with that mockery of a crown digging the thorns into his head. But look at his hands. They are firmly holding the beam of the cross to himself, refusing to let go. A first fall. We too have our first falls, whenever we fall short of the standards we aim to live by, the generosity we plan to extend to others, the evasions, the lies and deceit, and refusal to forgive those who hurt us. Can we be like Jesus and hang on in there, grasping the wood of the cross to give us support and strength to continue our journey? As the hymn says, to follow close the print of thy dear footsteps, and when we fall, sweetheart, O love us still.
I'm not ashamed to own my Lord, or to defend his cause. Maintain the honor of his word, the glory of his cross.
The fourth station. Jesus meets his mother. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Mary is there at the beginning, the Annunciation. She presents her child in the temple. She brings him up and is there at various moments in his ministry. But this, to see the suffering of one's own child, is cruelty beyond imagination. And Mary was no different to any parent in that respect. Others had deserted him, but not his mother. Imagine how she felt, seeing his grazed knees, and remembering when she used to tend those same knees when he fell as a toddler. She was there for him at great emotional cost. Did she remember when the old man in the temple, 30-odd years before, had told her, "A sword shall pierce your heart too"? Would we have been there? Not to stare, but to support. Could we have coped with that helplessness, both of Jesus and of ourselves? But we are not helpless. We can, if we choose, still reach out to those hurting. A kind word, a smile, a gesture, a phone call, or an email. These are all possible, even at the moment. We can be there for those who need our comfort. To quote another hymn, "When I needed a neighbour, were you there?"
At the cross her station keeping, stood the mournful mother weeping, where he hung the dying Lord. For his people's sins chastised, she beheld her son despised, scourged and crowned with thorns entwined. Saw him then from judgment taken, and in death by all forsaken, till his spirit he resigned.
The fifth station. Simon from Cyrene helps Jesus to carry the cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Suddenly, from out of the crowd, someone pushes through the mob to approach Jesus, not to hurt him or mock him, but to offer kindness. A strong man, judging by the carving, who responds with generosity and courage to assist a battered, bruised, bleeding prisoner on his walk to the gallows. It isn't easy to stand out from the crowd and declare support for a prisoner of the authorities. But Simon did it. Can we? How could we? We know that in our own families and communities there are those bearing burdens too heavy to assess. Looking at it very simply, each tin of soup given to the needy eases the burden of weakening and gut-wrenching hunger. Every smile given to someone we pass by gives just a little more self-worth and value. The opportunities are endless. Jesus gave himself totally by his life, his death, and his abiding presence with us. In life, in death, O Lord, abide with me.
I need thy presence.
every passing hour. What but thy grace can foil the tempter's power? Who like thyself my guidance stay can be? Through cloud and sunshine, Lord, abide with me.
The sixth station. Veronica wipes the face of Jesus. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Veronica does not appear in the Gospels. She's a representation of kindness and compassion. It is suggested that she stepped forward, as Simon did, to ease Jesus' suffering. She took her veil, and with it tenderly wipes the blood, tears, sweat, and spittle from the face of Jesus. Blood which would have trickled from his brow, tears of exhaustion, sweat of endeavour, and the spittle of derision. She wiped his face, just as Mary would have wiped the face of the infant Jesus with love and gentleness. The legend goes that as a result of her courage and compassion, Veronica's veil was marked forever with the features of Christ. Her name ensures her act won't be forgotten. Veronica means true likeness. Can we see the likeness of Christ in all we do? Gently washing the face of an elderly relative or neighbour, caring for those who hurt, supporting those close to giving up. Do we care for others as Christ would want us to, bringing peace and healing? Brother, sister, let me serve you.
We are pilgrims on a journey and companions on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and bear the load. I will weep when you are weeping. When you laugh, I'll laugh with you. I will share your joy and sorrow till we've seen this journey through.
Seventh station. Jesus falls the second time. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Jesus falls again, this time despite the supporting hands of Simon from Cyrene. He must have been utterly exhausted. Think back over the last 24 hours. Arranging the meal which they shared on the previous night, explaining the enormity of that supper, seeing Judas leave to betray him, and then going to the Mount of Olives to pray, to think, to imagine what might happen. Then, after a night of torment and sadness, to be arrested, dragged across the town, squabbled over, denied, deserted. Then this. If you look carefully, you can see the tension in his hands, the rough ground which would cut them, the tense muscles in his arms. And yet you will see he is looking ahead rather than down. When we fall, letting ourselves down, how difficult do we find it to keep our head up, looking ahead to the journey to come? Isn't it easier to look down and give up? When we look at the courage and determination shown by Jesus, we can take encouragement that we are accompanied on our journey by the one who knows how hard it is to keep going, and yet did so for our sakes. Be with us, Jesus, and support us in our weakness.
Onward, therefore, fellow pilgrims, onward with the cross our aid. Bear its shame and fight its battle, till we rest beneath its shade.
The 8th station. Jesus meets the women of Jerusalem. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. A large number of women would have followed Jesus, a man who valued all people and all ages. In him they can see the love he has for everyone, and in some way came to share in his ghastly journey. Jesus tells them they don't need to grieve for him, but for themselves and their families, because there will be times in the future when ill fortune will befall them, and Jerusalem destroyed with much loss of life. Wonder what they felt, what they thought. How would they react to the sight of a young man, obviously badly beaten, staggering along to his death? This young man who tells them that they are the ones who should be worried. What would you do? We need to remember what St. Paul wrote in a letter to the Corinthians. When I am weak, then I am strong. Let us seek afresh ways to deepen our faith and serve our Lord.
Open our eyes, Lord, we want to see Jesus, to reach out and touch him, and say that we love him. Open our ears, Lord, and help us to listen. Oh, open our eyes, Lord, we want to see Jesus.
The 9th station. Jesus falls the 3rd time. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. The creator of the sculpture made her versions of the three falls very different. The first to his knees, the second almost on the ground, and the third, this one, falling backwards. See the hands, almost reaching for something to hold. The head, looking up, imploring. Here Jesus identifies with those whose lives are torn, the fallen who hunt for scraps in Mumbai, or crushed by poverty in the East Midlands and the Middle East. Often misrepresented by the media, some are depicted as low life, worthless, to be pushed aside or ignored. There are those who are crushed by failure at work, at home, in society. In his falling, Jesus knows what it is like to be absolutely crushed. St. Irenaeus said, "The glory of God is the living poor person." Jesus struggles to his feet and carries on, one step nearer the cross, one step nearer to death, and one step nearer to resurrection. Then, whatever we have done or failed to do, all Jesus asks is, "Do you love me?" And we will reply, "Yes, Lord, I love you."
Jesus, grant me this, I pray, ever in thy heart to stay. Let me evermore abide, hidden in thy wounded side. If the world, O Satan, lay tempting snares about my way, I am safe when I abide in thy heart and wounded side.
The 10th station. Jesus is stripped of his garments. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. Is there anything more humiliating than having all one's clothes torn from one's body? Some fabric would have stuck to the broken, bleeding skin, ripping some of that off too. Exposed to the sunlight and the gaze of the onlookers. No respect, no dignity, no consideration. Looking carefully at the picture, you can see that the hands grabbing at the garments are depicted as the claws of wild animals, huge, powerful, and frightening. It is a scene of almost unbelievable cruelty. But it happened, and it happens today. People are trafficked to be used as slaves or playthings for others, moved from place to place as though they were nothing. This too is degrading and dehumanizing. May we never add to the burden of humiliation or rejection of anyone.
There is a Redeemer, Jesus, God's own Son, precious Lamb of God, Messiah, Holy One. Thank you, oh my Father, for giving us your Son, and leaving your Spirit till the work on earth is done.
The 11th station. Jesus is nailed to the cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. How he suffered. Nails through the wrists and ankles. Thirsty, tired, hot, in pain, on full view, and deserted by many of his followers. 2 others were crucified near him, maybe many others in the vicinity. The cross was hoisted up, and all waited. He speaks occasionally to his mother, his friend John, one of the robbers nearby. He seems to be a helpless victim, but in John's Gospel we can read that he seems to be in charge. The Dominican Colin Carr writes, "He knows what is going to happen. The people who came to arrest him are more frightened of him than he is of them." His strength and grace are in all who feel their lives are coming apart. Pope Emeritus Benedict said, "Let us nail ourselves to him, resisting the temptation to stand apart or to join others in mocking him."
O secret surrounded by crown of blazing thorn, O bleeding head so wounded, so shamed and put to scorn, death's pallid hue comes o'er thee, the glow of life decays, yet angel hosts adore thee, and tremble as they gaze.
Jesus dies on the cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. For 3 hours Jesus hung on the cross. He spoke words from the Psalms. He encouraged the penitent thief, and eventually his ordeal was over. Given the ill treatment he had endured over the last 2 days, he died comparatively quickly and commended himself to God, knowing that he had completed all that was asked of him. We are told there was darkness, an eclipse maybe, but certainly no respite. His mother and a few of the women remained there. Looking at the carving, it is worked in such a way that it appears he was in control. He looked to heaven and gave up his spirit. It was not taken from him. It is accomplished, but at what cost? As we follow in his steps, we do not know how our lives will be completed. Will we be able to surrender our will and know that we have done what has been asked of us? How are we going to make good any omissions? Can we look at that love honestly and ask that we may be more loving?
When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingling down. Did as such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown?
The 13th station. Jesus is taken down from the cross. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. The next day is the Sabbath, and so the authorities want everything tidied up before nightfall. Joseph, a citizen of Arimathea, offered his own new tomb, and hurriedly Jesus' body was laid there. The usual preparations for burial were not made. The body is simply wrapped, laid to rest, tomb sealed, and all at home before dusk. There was no chance for his friends to gather, for respects to be paid, or even the body washed or anointed. The soldiers will be able to say that all was done. Pilate was willing to hand over the body, didn't want any souvenir hunters or any trouble, and that was it. How did his friends feel? What did they think? Do you imagine they were disappointed and expecting something miraculous? Did they feel let down? Were they just heartbroken, not knowing what to feel? And you? How do you feel when someone dear to you has died? Was that how it was?
Be still, my soul, the Lord is at your side.
14th station. Jesus is laid in the tomb. We adore you, O Christ, and we bless you, because by your holy cross you have redeemed the world. So, gently, they carried the body of Jesus to a new tomb and laid him there. No liturgies, no ritual. They would have to return after the Sabbath to anoint the body as custom required. Most of the people had gone home, but his mother Mary Magdalene, and probably a few others, remained. A heavy stone was placed at the entrance, so there was no possibility of grave robbers. All was completed, and now it was the Sabbath. The people went home. John took Mary with him to look after her.
I danced on the Sabbath and I trod the lane. The holy people said it was a shame. They whipped and they stripped and they hung me high, and they left me there on the cross to die. Dance then wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lead you all wherever you may be, and I'll lead you all in the dance, said he. I danced on the Friday when the sky turned black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They buried my body and they thought I'd gone.
The hymn tells us, I danced on a Friday when the sky turned black. It's hard to dance with the devil on your back. They buried my body and they thought I'd gone. Really? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen.